What's up, AfterBuzzers, and welcome to the Handmaid's Tale After Show. Today we're talking about Episode 4, Don't Let the Bastards Grind You Down, and Episode 5, Faithful. Lots to talk about.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I was actually so happy when this song played.
It was
I love this
perfect.
song.
It allowed the perfect comedic break from
It
the
did.
crazy world that we are living in.
It's like,
Oh my gosh.
wait, what? Oh, yes, okay.
It was
Because
beautiful.
they have, like, regular music on top of the other stuff, but this felt a little too poppy to be like, wait, how's this fit? And then we're like, oh, okay.
It's comedy. Thank you.
Yes. Welcome to the after show for Handmaid's Tale. My name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's Karidlane. We're talking about episode 4, Don't Let the Bastards Grind You Down, and episode 5, Faithful. I'm joined by my awesome panel.
Hey guys, I'm Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique and every week at blackgirlnerds.com.
Hi guys, I'm Adrian Snow. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow. That's MSADRIANSNOW. Sorry, I just forgot how to spell my name briefly.
You got there.
It's all
though.
right.
You got there.
And then Veronica will be back with us. She wasn't feeling too well today. And then she's an exciting thing of why she can't be here next week. And then be back after that.
Yeah.
So let's get into episode 4. So how much do we love that memories can be dangerous?
So much.
Right? Because you're going to just get sucked into that and stay there forever. And 13 days she's been locked up. Because I'm glad when they say those moments, you're like, oh, how long has it been?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
And then she explores the room and finds the phrase.
Yes.
How exciting was that?
Yeah, I still can't say it. Was it?
Nolite comparum.
It's
Okay,
like-
hold on. I got this.
Nolite-
Nolite te bastardes carbudorum.
Sorry, you have to read my handwriting.
It's
there,
cool.
too.
We got there.
You got it.
Latin, as
Yes.
we learn later, don't let the bastards grind you down. It was like, gosh, I can't even imagine what a relief. What really excited me about this scene is the moment she pops up and is like, I'm an explorer. Like, there are new things to discover in this room. I am not going to go crazy in here. And it goes back to that thing Moira was telling her earlier, which is like, you have to stay here.
Yes.
You cannot, let yourself wonder, you cannot be one of the girls who gets her eye popped out. You need to stay focused. And see how she explores, and then the sameness of like how much she has to fight that. She can't peek out the window. Her clothes don't offer any kind, like, you can't be mixing matching clothes, like trying to do something
Nope.
artistic because everything looks the same.
Yep.
It's literally just trying to put yourself in what kind of resembles a coffin at points on the floor of like, if I just get low to the ground, maybe I'll see things from a new perspective. And she does. It's a really exciting discovery.
Oh, yeah. And then how much did you like when the Martha comes in and freaks out, like, oh, shit, are you dead?
Just
sad.
That's expected. She did a nice cover, but that cover was also kind of like, I was like, I don't know if I would have said I would have fainted, just because it's such an ill handmaid is not a wanted handmaid.
I have a lot of questions about what happened between that exchange with them that we wouldn't want anyone to worry was so heavily coded. And I found myself a lot between these two episodes, like, are women helping each other out or hurting each other in these moments? It's very confusing, and I think it a little bit of both a lot of times as people are trying to defend themselves but also not make other people's lives more miserable. But I was very unclear with the Martha is going down there and telling them, oh, well, she fainted and she has to go to the doctor and that's outside. Is that a help or a hindrance to her, do you think?
Exactly.
I think it's
hard.
I think it's more of just a blanket statement, and she, in the way she even phrased it, was like, that's what she said, like she fainted. Like, and she's like, and then Serena Joy is just kind of like very offhandish with it, like, oh, okay, well, that's what she said. So.
Yeah, she's all sad
So,
what she said. Yep.
I don't think Rita wants Offred to suffer in any way, but I also think it's something where it's like, the best enemy is the one that you know. So it's better to have this Offred than to have a new Offred who may actually cause a problem for Martha.
Yeah.
So that's probably why she was like, well, you should probably take her to the hospital. Just
They kind of shared a moment, though, which was nice. I'm like, oh, kind of. Are we connecting a little?
That's what I was trying to figure it out. It was hard. It's hard.
Then we have the flashback with Moira in the bathroom writing Aunt Lydia sucks, which is funny because it's a double play on being a lesbian of suck and like that, because that was her insult, which I don't think they quite hint at the show enough. But I don't know about you guys, but when I grew up, my mom didn't like the term sucks because she felt it was sexual.
Yes,
So
definitely. That scene was a little terrifying to me. You just never know what's going to happen around the aunties and her. But I did like Moira's insistence, like, no, this is important. This is vital that I do this one small act of rebellion. Yeah.
For the next person to see, which plays into the Latin quote that she sees later on. Like, that was an act of rebellion that could have definitely ended with that particular Offred being, you know, having both her eyes plucked out or something like that, or like losing her fingers
chopped
or something.
off, anything.
But she felt it was important for the next Offred to see that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Then we have the ceremony's going to be happening, and so they do the doctor appointment, and she's just happy for some fresh fucking air.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
And the flip of that, when she's like, yeah, you're going to take the car. I could walk. You're sick.
Yes.
No one walks more than a mile in the rain when they're sick, so you're taking the car. And then to isolate her further with the curtains and drawing up the window, my goodness. What a hellhole it's to live in. I just can't even imagine.
Well, I noticed it the second time I watched that episode that Serena Joy reached into the car to roll up the limo divider. And the way that Nick looks at her when she's doing it, I'm like, God, you're just horrible. She's like, why is this necessary?
Then we have the flashback to the ceremony lesson, which they all get that moment where they're like learning their fate.
Yeah.
We do get the nice explanation because we were kind of curious about how many times the ceremony happens. So once a month when the fertile days happen.
Yeah, during ovulation.
Yay!
Exciting. I like the Catholic school way of teaching it too. Of like, if you've ever been confirmed, or I could not say if this happens across religions, but in the Catholic faith, which I grew up in, when you have these big ceremonial things, it's like, you are about to be so lucky, you're gonna be blessed, you're gonna take the spirit of Jesus into your body, and it's gonna be amazing. You don't even know, and you're like, this wafer tastes nasty. I don't want to do this. This dress is itchy, and I felt so much kind of connection to them in this moment of like, wait, what? This is not exciting.
Well, yeah, just that realization that, because, you know, up until that point, even Moira thought that it was going to be something where they get, like, a turkey baster. And they're done. And so when they realize, like, no, you're going to be having active intercourse, not even sex, intercourse with this man, and the wife is going to be there above you, holding your wrist, essentially. Like, just, like, that just really struck me, just even saying in that moment, like, that is just, like, a very active, like, sign of a woman being raped. Like, somebody's holding your wrist while somebody else.
I like how Moira phrased that question very strategically to ask it without getting in trouble. She's like, so, are you saying? And you're like, ugh. And then even the aunt was like, close, you were almost there. I almost would have done
I caught the insolence underneath. I felt it. So you get a kick in the foot.
So we get the doctor's office. How white and sterile that was. And
that's not even what bothered me so much, was like this sheen, like this. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I know a lot of women who go to doctors, sometimes there's this disconnect, like you don't feel heard or listened to. Women's pain is often not registered the same as if a man were to tell somebody they were in pain. And so this idea of there being a physical boundary between her and her doctor, and she still has no like, she still doesn't have control of her body. It's just so degrading, and that was really freaky. The screen just really freaked me out.
Yeah, the last time I went to the doctor, they started talking about this was before the election, but they started talking about the election, like, as they're going through my procedures, you know, sorry to be graphic, but, like, as your, like, cervix is being, like, scraped, someone's, like, talking to you about Donald Trump. It's, like, the last thing I want to hear in that vulnerable state. So it is a weird dynamic, doctors and women especially.
So how creeped out were you when he started being really chatty / quote-unquote friendly and was offering his services?
I had no idea what was going to happen. I really thought we were going to get a rape. Honestly, we saw potentially how they deal with those accused of raping handmaids, but he's a doctor. Maybe he's outside of these rules. The dip of fingers into the gel. I was like, oh my God, please. She's been through so much. I was shocked when he asked her and then heard her request of, like, thank you, but no thank you. That's really dangerous. And I was like, okay. I honestly didn't think he would give her that much leverage or space to have an opinion.
I think it happens often enough that he can be like, all right,
next one, yeah.
I think that's the case, and I also think that because I was reading an article about the Handmaid's Tale today, and it's kind of like a regulated rape culture, essentially. So if it's a regulated rape culture, then, well, this act of, and even, you know, that's something that we kind of deal with even in this day and age, like, well, this type of rape is okay, but not this type of
Yeah.
rape. And so it's they've trained themselves to think that what they do with the handmaids once a month is not rape, but for anyone else to touch them at any other time, that would be considered rape. But what we do isn't. So that I think that's also kind of plays into why there's still like the concept of consent when he goes to ask her, just because you know, he doesn't want to.
Gives her a chance.
Yeah.
One last question about this guy.
Yeah.
Sleazy or genuinely trying to help?
Genuinely
little bit of
trying
both.
to help, but creepy.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I think he wants to help, but he definitely enjoys the benefits of helping.
Sure, especially we don't know if he's assigned a woman or not. We didn't get to see his fingers if he's married or not. And even, and we'll get into it more later,
I
but
would
the wives
imagine-
don't seem to have like active, healthy sexual lives, like at all, period.
Yeah.
That I've seen so far.
There's
Not
no
really.
sex except for
Procreation, yeah. So this idea that even if he does have a wife and maybe he has a kid already, like, I don't know, the whole situation was just icky.
It's weird.
I don't get the feeling that doctors are held to the same like prestige that we hold doctors in this day. So I don't
Probably
think
not.
he gets the choice of a woman or anything like that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, he's doing all this to get his rocks off. That might be a part of it, but I also think, like we talked about a little bit last week about how are there some men who are in this world and they're just resigned to it,
Yeah.
but they don't necessarily agree with it, but they don't fight against it. And he kind of even implied that he's like, there's nothing I can do about your situation, but if you want someone to
can help
talk to
you
you.
out.
And you can kind of tell he's already breaking the rules by even saying that the dude
Oh,
was
just how
sterile.
friendly he was talking
But
with
do
her.
you-
You're like, ooh, what?
That's why I'm like, the eye is always watching.
Yeah.
Say nothing. Get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that was for her definitely a thing. I think he was less scared because he offered a particular service.
Sure.
And so, and he was also a man. So the punishment for him, he's not participating in ginger treachery or anything like that. But there's less of a consequence for him to speak his mind than it is for her.
What do we think of the car meltdown she had with Nick?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all. If you're gonna isolate me, at least this is a space where if I scream, no one's gonna do anything about it.
Yeah.
And you gotta scream sometimes. And I feel like that moment gets cliche. I've seen it in a lot of shows where like, and now I go to the roof and I scream my lungs out. It felt really genuine and authentic, and it worked for me emotionally.
Yeah. It came like out of a disillusioned place.
Yeah.
So when it starts to happen, it makes sense. Yeah.
What do you think she was really apologizing for when she goes back to the wife and like, I've learned my lesson, I can change? I'm like, well, what do you change? You're not pregnant. It's not that you
I don't
had
think
a
she's
choice.
apologizing for anything. I honestly
Felt like
think
an
she's
apology. I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, it definitely was an apology, but I don't think she had anything to apologize for. I
No.
don't think she felt
Oh.
sorry. I think she was just like, I need to get out of this room, and if I tell you I've learned my lesson, perhaps there's a chance that you
Got
will
it.
believe me and get me
Yeah.
out of here.
Even though,
Yeah.
she did nothing wrong.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my
Nothing to
gosh, I was so
apologize
like,
for.
Yeah.
"Ugh." So the other crazy Moira memory was with the Aunt Elizabeth and taking her down to the basement by getting the
Oh
shiv
my
essentially out of
God.
the toilet. So this doesn't happen this way in the book at all. Offred is not with her
Oh.
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
all. But this kind of is cool because then it's like it makes their separation of how Moira gets away more like
It's so much more tragic. And you understand that everything is still very new. Like, he's still chipping off the letters so that they
Yeah.
can't read anymore. And I was like, oh, God, this is still
yep.
super recent.
Yep.
But just, like, her face when she's, like, looking at her like,
Leaving.
do you want me to leave you?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, you gotta go. Like they
like,
already
yeah.
caught me.
Oh.
We
Yeah.
don't have the language yet to navigate this new
Yeah.
society. We haven't
Yeah.
been given it, so I don't know what to
Exactly.
say or what to do. So if you can't come here and help me out, you have to go. What I thought was really interesting was how the guard kind of treated her like a child.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, it was immediate.
lost,
Just
child?
yeah, like do you know where you're going? I know it's confusing without the street names. We're hoping to replace that soon. Where's your partner? What's going on?
Yep. How far are you now in the book?
14, so still early.
Okay. So you got, but yeah, this it's
I
a
haven't
good
gotten
change.
to that part yet.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm right there.
And then yeah, they try to escape together, which was so sad. So the ceremony, we jump back to that, how he came in early. And then she's like, oh, you're not supposed to be here, and asking for the rematch. And then the ceremony is so wondrously awkward.
Oh man! From the moment that the wife comes in and she's like, "Yo, look who's the early bird now," and I'm like, "Oh no!" And then he is like, feeling up on her leg, and she was like, I never felt the
filling up. Wait, that's episode 5.
Oh wait, is that jumped to episode?
Yeah, not yet.
I'm sorry.
This
too
is
early.
when he's trying to rub it out, and
Yeah,
it's
he
not
can't get
working.
it up.
Oh gosh.
Yep.
Okay, much more devastating because again, what I really like about this show is how it portrays like how all women are isolated and left kind of in the dark.
Yeah.
And this idea that she's like, finally I can do something. Like, I can help you. I will give you fellatio. And he's like, no, please don't. And I'm like, ugh.
Well, I think that's
that was
something
so hard.
that speaks on to
Or
just
not.
it speaks on to like just carnal desire. That's not something just because if people have never learned anything yet, you can tell me all you want about religious beliefs or political beliefs and tell me that this is why things have to be the way, but I'm still an animal. I still have desires. I still, even in a policed world like that, Serena Joy, who is holier than thou in the books, still has a desire. Like, so it was nice to see, like, oh, and it confirmed what I thought, which is that they don't touch each other. Like, they don't have sex. That it's just the act of marriage is a presentation.
I didn't even feel like Serena Joy had desires so much as like, I want to be a part of something. She is so freaking isolated. She finds it otherwise stupid. She feels above her handmaiden and of course above her Martha, and so there's no possible connection there. And her husband gives her zilch. He's like, wants nothing to do with her.
Yep.
And I think she finally found a way. She was like, oh, I can be useful to someone in some capacity, and to be just so rejected and already on her knees, like.
And just even the act of touching another person, you know, how often do these people touch? Do they ever touch?
Not really.
I mean, anyone in this universe, you know.
We do have the thing in the next episode where Off Steven, formerly Off Glenn, has her wife touch her shoulder.
I have some predictions about that wife.
Yeah, we can talk about that. So we get the Scrabble thing, and then she asks about the Latin and how it's technically a joke because it's kind of a play on words, but whatever. And we have that flashback too with her punishment when she gets caught from escaping the feet.
My God. Which to me looked like, essentially, instead of like a caning, it's like 4 very stiff canes on, like, I don't some kind of handle. Ow, freaking ow, with the bandaged feet and
and then you guys like how in Scrabble she's kind of asking about the previous girl, and she's like, oh, you want my life to be bearable? And he's like, yeah, of course, I just want to make your life a little better. And she's like, but I love how she uses him to get out of her room. Use him in any way you can.
See, I don't think she has. I don't feel like she's in control here.
Well,
in
she
these
goes
moments.
like, "Hey, I hate being in this room. You know, I don't want to end up like the other one," and instantly is released.
She's been invited into this space, though.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, if the invite hadn't come, she'd still be restricted to her room. And beyond that, he's playing her just as much as she has that moment where she's like, it's something I'm doing. Like, I've done something wrong. And I think that relates back to the earlier moment where, like, she's starting to fall into her role. She's starting to fall mentally into place where society is asking her to go. And it's kind of sad to see how close she comes. Like, she's like, oh, he likes when I flirt back. And you see that it brings her joy. And again, it's because she gets to interact and use her head, but also it's so emotionally manipulative. It really puts me on edge. I just want to slap the shit out of this guy. I hate him so much. I hate him so much for giving her, like, hope and joy when it's a false, when it's not something that he genuinely wants from her. You know?
I have more to say in episode 5, so
I was gonna say, well, we get there.
I'm gonna keep it quiet for now. But
end of 4, though, we get the fun line when she's like, "We are handmaids," and done does the phrase and bitches at the end, which was fun.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
It's a great little rally cry. So a little bit. Then we get into the next episode, Faithful, and we go back to Scrabble again. And she's drinking, they're flirting, legs, and she's learning, like, how to use him. So, and then here's the beauty magazine, and I have an appreciation for the old things.
So this is the moment where I go, well, the moment he pulled out the beauty magazine, I was like, he is surrounded by books.
So many books.
Surrounded by books.
Yep.
They're drinking scotch.
Yep.
And he gives her a beauty magazine. Like, she's a child. And, like, here, doesn't this make you feel better? Like, it's like giving a child a lollipop to be like, oh, here, doesn't this make the fact that you've been in the doctor's office all day make you feel better?
Look at the extension of that too, because the beauty magazine is usually how to give better sex,
Yep.
how to look prettier for your guy, all these
And
other
even
things.
the article,
Yes, and then
how to tell
the guy
he likes you. Yeah.
And it's the first thing is a small gift, and she says check, and you just know that he like read it and was like, oh, so when I give her this, she'll know. Like it again, it's just emotional manipulation of the highest order, and it's so freaking gross.
Oh yes.
I have a lot of feelings.
In the book,
that confirmed for me that he was what I thought, which is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
In the book, she does get to read other books in that room, but she can't take them back with her, obviously. So she gets to read. But then he's kind of like, well, guess that means you get to read here, and he watches her.
Of course, because emotional manipulation. Even when he was like, I thought they were going to go somewhere when he was like, can you grab the dictionary for me? And it's on the lower shelf. I really thought it was going to turn into something very like sultry and gross. But yay, feminist show, it just stays with her.
Then we get the introduction of how she met Luke, and I kind of felt, Moira, you're a horrible wing woman. He has a ring on.
No, she didn't see it at first. So when you go back and watch that episode, he has his hand in his pocket, and then when he grabs the phone.
I know, but she immediately goes, Moira, he has a ring. And then she goes, I didn't notice. I notice faster. Certain people notice faster than others. I've definitely learned that in life experiences. Some people don't even think anything of it.
Yeah. Well, and especially as like a queer woman, I think she was just like, oh, there's a guy.
Yeah.
Hey,
you're heterosexual, right?
For a second. I don't think she was looking at him necessarily as a prospect for her.
No.
But he's cute as hell, so you know, get it.
But she says that too. She's like, he's really cute.
OT.
Yeah.
So
I
fine.
think that's how you say his last name. That's his name. OT.
I would not tell you how to say it.
Then jumping back to our regular time, we have Offred and Serena outside doing the girl gardening chat, which I love that it's with the garden shears, and she's thinking like, how much do I push those in?
Yeah.
'Cause in the book, she's holding yarn for her, and her hands are literally tied. So I felt that was a cool but change. But then I like that she's thinking about weapons. So I was like, yes, that's cool.
Yeah, we get that moment twice, and I love the voiceover. Versus what Serena's telling her of like, I know you're good, and I know you know what to do. Not everyone can handle this, and she's like, I could just stab this bitch right now.
Yeah,
it would be so easy.
But then Serena's the one who goes, well, maybe he can't, which I felt they didn't make as big of a deal as they did in the book, because she like flips out. Mentally, Offred freaks out, going, she can't believe she's even saying that because that's not a thing, but. They did enough, and they're like, well, then she pimps her out to Nick.
Yeah.
So early, I loved in like episode 1, you're kind of like, oh, them and Nick, and I'm thinking, just wait.
So yeah, I like Serena's thinking. First of all, she's a practical woman.
Yes.
And she knows, because we just talked about our isolation, she needs a baby. Yeah. A baby will fix Serena's problems in Serena's head, not in real life. But in her head, she's like, if I have a child, the child will love me. I will have something to love and something to spend my time and attention on, and it'll be great. What do we need to do to get this bitch pregnant? Because he might be shooting blanks. And I feel like we didn't necessarily need to go into like the full order of the book, because man, did she do a great job of playing like what? Did you just say to me?
Like, say it again.
We can't say sterile. This is the second time I've heard it. Like, shush, everyone. You're going to get me in trouble. Yeah, and how awkward was it for her to just stand in the room?
Oh, that didn't happen in the book. Well, but I loved how awkward that was.
Yeah.
So awkward.
It makes sense, though, because it's, even for her, it's like, well, this is just an action that needs to happen, and I don't, I need to make sure that nothing uncouth happens between the two of them.
Oh, yeah.
But just, and also just that moment of her, like, attempting to, like, have some type of connection with Nick in that moment, even though...
Did he brush her off, or did it startle them both? Like, what happened?
He came. So, like, right as he came, she, like, went to grab his arm, but... like,
copy. Yeah. Okay.
But then even before that, too, how Serena's like, yeah, he's already agreed. Like, before she even asked Offred, Nick's already down. Like,
let's be real, it's not really a question.
No.
It's more of like, so this is happening.
Yes.
Yep.
And I just need you to nod and say yes.
Yep. Oh, but that was a change that was so great to have her in the room, because it was so creepy. Grocery store, off Glenn is back, but is now off Steven.
Yeah.
Yep. And then that's when Mayday comes in. So before it happened, when they're in the window talking to each other, that's when Mayday was introduced. So now I was like, oh, good, Mayday's back. So I'm too dangerous to be a part of it. And she's like, what is that? And so it's some kind of like underground secret rescue-ish thing.
Think of the new Off Glenn's like explanation for why she's like so content.
Freaking loved it.
I
freaking
liked
loved
it.
I thought that was very interesting.
It's good.
I thought it was interesting because she's a woman of color that they made that choice with her, but I it did show you like a different side of like why some people become
Sure.
The show has kind of
complacent.
removed race from its vernacular.
It's kind of an issue.
I'm struggling with it. I'm
Well,
really,
because there aren't black people in
the
that,
book.
in Gideon. There
I'm
aren't any.
genuinely struggling with it because I like the idea of exploring, like if we had fully removed women of color from the narrative, we would not get to explore the challenges they might face. But by excluding them from the narrative, you don't understand, like it makes it feel like women of color are on the same par as white women in American politics, and that's just not the case.
Yeah.
And so it's a struggle. I'm really glad we have these women of color in the show, but I don't feel like they explore how women of color versus white women are treated in the world, and that kind of makes me feel iffy.
Wanted to hear more. It's a different thing. Hearing a woman of color talk about prostituting herself for Oxy and a Happy Meal, and then also it's a different thing to have an interracial relationship, and never touch on like the hard parts of being in an interracial relationship, which you get with June and Luke. So that's something I eventually hope to explore. Or what does it mean to be a black handmaid, and especially if your family, quote unquote, is white. Like, what does that entail, or how do they?
I don't think they're gonna really get into it. It's not really explored in the book.
Well, it doesn't have the space for it, but this has gotten another season,
might do
so
a little bit.
I'm really hoping that they do the digging. And we see our first wife of color. It's only in a photograph in the hospital. Yeah. When she goes to the doctors, you see one of the wives holding a baby.
A white baby.
Or like, it's hard to say, but she's holding a baby, and so that introduces to me that even the wives are intersectional. But again, what does that mean? I really hope we get to explore that.
Yeah. Then we have the so something I don't know if you notice is when it's memories of Luke, the camera is nice and sway and flowing, but when it's regular world, it's like very stiff and doesn't move. I kind of noticed that because when they do the flashback memory of Luke and the flirting and them getting the hotel room.
Yeah, it's almost dreamlike.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's how, when you think about if you're in a relationship and you think about the beginning of a relationship, it is kind of swoony. You think about how you met and the looks and the soft touches and the soft lighting. Even though it may not have been like that.
The lunch date, the lunch date cheating negotiation is maybe my favorite dialogue scene in the season so far. The back and forth, the double entendres, the and even if you've ever had a conversation like this where you don't want to like say that you're negotiating because that's weird, right? And so you're alluding to like, oh well, we could, like, they just got that like flirty temptation, like what is the word I'm looking for, like foreboding kind of like feeling to it, and I thought it was so great and so well performed. I loved it.
Oh yeah, it's so entertaining. It's great to see like their relationship that way and how it started, and then how she's like, I want you to leave your wife, and you're like, oh, okay, serious.
Yeah, there was some talk of how people didn't appreciate the fact that it seemed so dreamy that their connection, it didn't play true to like when a person has an affair and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, well,
what do you mean?
Well, just that when a cheating is portrayed on television, it's usually one side, so you don't get to see like the pain of the other person or like
right.
And I was like, I
don't see his wife at all. Yeah.
Well, as of yet, and we also don't know where Luke is. Yeah. In this current time, but
Luke is dead, right?
Sure.
We presume we didn't see a body, so TV. Okay.
We've never seen him die, but and then also, how does that play into like, is this wife gonna later return? Because why do they know that she was a adulterer?
Yeah.
So
good question.
Is that something where the wife came forward and said, this woman and she can have babies and you should?
Because of the way the show is set up, I honestly believe that's the case, is that his wife is going to pop up. But I like that we didn't see the other side of it this time around, because it's about their relationship and what happened with them. And I feel like when you're falling in love, that's what it feels like, even if it's not in a good way, even if you think cheaters are the scum of the earth, like that. I felt like their reactions were honest and true.
I thought it was a very realistic thing. I think what people were taught so much, I'm not condoning cheating, but we're taught so much to immediately frown upon anyone who falls in love outside of their marriage. And it's like, that's not an uncommon thing. Like, just because society has a structure of marriage and we abide by that structure of marriage doesn't necessarily mean that all marriages are happy, or that when a person cheats, it's because, they're horrible people and they want to do bad by their wife. They just fall in love with someone else, and maybe they fall in love before they get the divorce. So
yeah, in the book, I think they were already, I can't remember if he already was divorced, but it was like going to be happening soon. So I didn't feel too bad of like, it was over and it's transition period. Then we have the brief moment with Offred and Serena, and I love how Offred was kind of saucy with her of like, she's like, do you feel different?
Yeah,
She's
within
like,
30 seconds of me coming in here,
that was so nice.
It was very I love that it was just like a very graphic thing to say, and that for a split second she just kind of forgot herself, and I was like, I appreciate that.
Yeah, that was real. But then I like Serena's moment of like praying over the baby. Like it's that is what the moment that sold me. I'm like, okay, I understand what Serena needs now. She's like, I don't even care about you. Just please bring me a baby.
Yeah.
So the moment you kind of have predictions on, but I don't know if you want to put this in predictions, but off Steven with the wife, how the off wife was kind of kind to her.
She was wicked kind. She's like, I could be sick again. Totally fine by me. And she's like, you can't be sick every month. Like, we cannot keep doing this. Yeah. Because she was part of the resistance, I don't know, like, we don't know where anyone stands. And I'm not sure if that wife is secretly a part of the resistance or not. And does she sneak through? I have a sneaking suspicion.
I think it had more to do with, and I've just been reading up on the show, but Bruce Miller, the showrunner, did talk about how people show sympathy or empathy in different ways. And so I always interpreted that scene to be more of like, as a woman to another woman, I know what's happened to you.
Yes.
And I can't deny that that's horrific, even in this world.
Yeah.
And so if you don't want to do this ceremony, I'm totally okay with that, because it's just kind of like, good God, like he cut off the head of Claire. So
I felt that moment is where it's finally kind of women equally bonding, or at least empathy
for even
like,
a brief moment.
And the touch was so nice of just something small but comforting in a little bit.
An attempt at something.
Then we have the second time of the ceremony. And where he gets the leg.
You start getting handsy.
Whew.
Son, don't put me in this position. Like, oh God, what a horrible way to feel trapped.
She's
like literally your hands bound. You can't see anything. You kind of want to protect this woman from this, because you know she has nothing, but at the same time, like, she might beat me or send me somewhere awful. Like, I was having a panic attack watching this moment.
Yeah. God, it was gross.
The leg, I like the use of the leg. In the book, it's more like he tries to caress her face. So it's more romantic rather than like
sexual.
But both are creepy.
Yeah.
Creepy in different ways.
Pure lust, and it was disgusting.
Well,
because it's also rape.
Yeah. Because he doesn't believe in love, which we learn in their next meeting, which we had choices. So before it's like, we had choices, and he's like, well, this is protection, so you can fulfill your biological destinies.
I love this moment because it's
like, well, now you have respect.
That's the moment I've been waiting for, is for him to be like, for her to realize like what a scumbag he is. And when he's just so flippant of like, oh no, I know we did off Glenn. He's like, I'm not a monster though. Like, she's still alive. We just, it was just a small, teeny, tiny little problem we got to take care of, and now it's good. So don't worry.
Oh man, this section in the book, I like had to put down for a minute when he's explaining their like logic of how this world became. Yeah. They get into it in the show, but they have a little bit longer, and it's creepier because it's older dude, which sounds even more patronizing. And I just like had to put it down. It was like, especially with like the political world now,
not
just
what
like
should be talked down to.
Not better for everyone.
So and then children, what else is there to live for? And she's like, love. And
silly child. There's no such thing as love. There's lust. Period. Full stop.
And just because a woman doesn't want a baby or can't have a baby doesn't mean she's any less of a woman. So any of those discussions always just annoy me of like,
there's no use for a woman but to have
make babies. So it's like, but if they don't want to or can't, what does that mean? It's like, so
you're not a person then.
Yeah, apparently not.
Clearly.
And then they talk about Offglen, so it's nice that she gets to hear about what happened to her more specifically.
So sad.
And it's like there's a small problem, and we only wanted to make the world better.
Not better for everybody though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, because then that's better. Better never means better for everyone. It always means worse for some. You're like, no, your logic does not make this any better, and I just hate you all right now.
It's better for me, so better. You know? Period.
Exactly. And then that it was just as frustrating and icky and like, but how bothered were you by that scene of the justification for why the world kind of switched?
Yeah, no, it was gross. Yeah. It was disgusting. Like, full stop. But again, I was elated that she finally saw who he was.
Yes. Yeah.
That she was no longer under his spell. I was like, thank God that's broken.
Yep.
It was just nice to see somebody get run over about 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
Then we get Nick with the conversation, are you and I, knows about Offred and warns her again. But is he just lying, or is he a double
he's
agent?
telling the truth.
I firmly believe that he's telling the truth.
Do you think he's a double agent, though? Because that could be the other option.
I mean,
No, I
I'm
think
not
he's just an
100% sure yet. I honestly, Nick doesn't seem very
Yeah.
brave to me. I just think he's like, look, I had to do what I got to do. The eye protects me somewhat. I'm trying to protect you. Like, get with the program.
Yep.
Then we get the Offred and of Steven learns her name, which she never learns her name in the book, because then she's kind of like, I wanted to look her up, but I couldn't find who she was. I didn't know her name. But you also don't get Offred's name either. So it was nice that she had a name. And then she's like, I offer condolences, and then the resistance and stealing the car.
I was so happy when she popped over that guy's head. I was
Yes.
like, yes.
Yep.
And again, these small acts of rebellion,
Yeah.
which I cannot remember the girl's name. Is it Janine who got her lost her
Janine.
eye? Yeah.
Yes.
You could see Janine be inspired. Janine started thinking, wheels are turning. I'm like, don't run with that baby, Janine. They're going to catch you. They'll take hands and eyes. But it was amazing just to see small acts of rebellion.
Just to watch somebody explode like that.
Oh, yeah.
You so desperately need to see someone explode. I just really need to see a man explode after by the end of that
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
Do you think she,
So-
Sylvia in the chat says, I feel Nick is lying.
Maybe. We don't know.
It's hard to say at this moment, because I'm like, I don't know, because I'm curious where they'll go compared to the book, because it's like he's telling the truth, he's lying, or he's double agent.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then there could be a fourth mystery option. I don't know. Do you think that Off Steven stole the car to escape, or simply to be like,
No, if she
screw it
wanted
all?
to escape, she would have escaped. She just wanted to feel free, like
Yeah.
for a split
To
second.
drive.
You know?
Yeah.
That's what she's doing. She's driving.
It was
Yeah.
great.
Then we have the reflecting on her. She's like, yeah, she looked invincible.
Yeah, because Luke
Oh,
called
yeah.
her
Yeah.
invincible.
And then she goes to Nick, and she gets her get Nicky time and sex.
You
and
mean her
woman on top.
sexual liberation?
Yes.
Yes.
Her, God damn, this scene was so necessary.
It was so necessary.
Thank you, Boo.
Thank you.
Yes. It was stunning. And she was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
nope, I'm taking control of this entire situation. Don't care at all. She's like,
Yeah.
I will be undressing you. You will not touch me. You will not tell me what to do anymore.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
It
I
was
felt healed after this.
Yes, it was lust, which like I needed to see, because the scene with like Luke, that was love, and that's sweet and tender, and that's great. But sometimes, and this is something I have to tell people all the time, so I'm looking directly into the camera right now. Sometimes women just want to get some. We just
What?
want to have some nice,
What?
fun, free-willing sex. Okay. So.
Yes.
So
Party
on that
time.
note,
Yes.
like to actually see that happen and to have it just be about like, I want to have an orgasm, I loved it, because we
Yeah.
needed it. We need it in the show. We need to see it more often on television.
And it
in the
feels like a
world.
switching point for her. She is,
Yes.
Yeah.
she is now going to be taking more control of her situation. She's been
We hope so,
inspired by
safely.
Emily now, who we don't have to call by any of the
Yeah.
offs. She is a full
Yep.
person. Emily, in memory of Moira. It's very. I'm so glad to see where we go after this.
Yeah, it's just a small act of rebellion, and it may blow up in her face, but whatever.
Yeah.
At least she finally got to have an orgasm for like the first time in who knows how long.
I'm sure Nick is grateful as hell too.
Yeah.
He's like, all right,
I don't
this
care
is
about
awesome.
Yes.
Listen, I do not care about Nick's like sexual whatever. I'm all
Yeah.
about
Yes.
Offred getting hers, okay?
Ariadne in the chat says, I too feel Nick is mostly telling the truth, but it's still a bit too early to say 100% if he's trustworthy.
True.
Yeah.
And Sylvia B says Emily needed some more normalness of like just driving a car. How long
Yeah.
have they not driven a car? But yes, that sex scene was so fun. Now, a weird thing, and I love how they took it in the show, because in the book, her first sex scene with Nick was a little more intimate because she's not there. But she tells you one way and goes, well, that's not really how it happened. And tells you another way. And she's like, that's not really how it happened either. And this is how I thought it could happen. As you're just like, as the reader, you're like, wait, what really happened? But it's cool because it's her, all of this is her reflecting on her life. So the show did an excellent job of, and I love hearing your response on it of like, yeah, we needed her to have something of her own.
Yes.
Completely her own.
Absolutely.
And taking it and enjoying it. So,
Yep.
let's get it. Veronica, yay, thanks for watching. Like, she's with us in a way. God forbid a woman enjoys sex. Great scene.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. All right, a little bit of predictions or any other
Your
comments?
AfterBuzz TV
Right, predictions.
predictions.
All right.
Oh, I said it and then I wasn't really ready. No, I think that I think it's going to be a nice little secret that she gets to keep. I don't know if there's going to be any acting on it from there on, if there's going to be any other act of rebellion. I think it's dangerous for Nick to even say anything about it because he was a very active participant in it. So, but I also think we're going to see just more of a, well, just even off of like the preview, it's exciting to see like other people who aren't a part of Gilead come in and have to, for Offred to have to speak on what it's like to be a handmaid to people who don't necessarily agree.
Oh, is that the tourists?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, essentially, kind of something like that.
Yeah.
But
I have no idea what that is.
I was gonna say I didn't watch the trailers.
Yeah.
Oh.
In the book, it's the tourist, but in the show, it's something else.
I didn't watch the previews for next time, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We'll see. I think that they call him the commander, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think he kind of enjoyed her. It's not the right word to use, but brattiness. She was kind of forceful and talking back, and she was like, "How could you?" and all this stuff. I think he enjoyed that here. I think as she grows more confident in herself, he's going to find that less appealing. And I think we're going to see a giant turn in him.
Often do.
Yeah, they do. That's true. So, I'll be interested to see how he starts taking her independence. I don't think he's going to like it.
It's one of those, at first it's cute, and then they're like, no. Mr. Henry84 says, I love how many great shows on TV right now are led by females. Feud, Big Little Lies, and this show. Yes. This one is such an excellent, diverse cast of women, and of all different types as well. Different clarifications on different. Yeah. But, I want to know where they're going to go with off Glenn, off Steven, because that's a completely different storyline. I wonder if we'll get a wrap up on that, because that storyline went very different. So I'm
Two times in a very short amount of time. You ain't long for this world, girl.
I was worried when they first did it that they were going to do some weird scientific thing and like essentially cut off all her limbs and just make her a body to make babies.
That happens in a really great movie called Bone Tomahawk, which you haven't seen, and you like horror movies and westerns, you should totally check it out. But yeah, no, that happens.
X-Files episode.
Yeah.
There's the mom under the bed.
Yeah, they also blind the women in
I just remember that. I forgot that episode and you reminded me.
It's foul, so I'm not she's still capable of bearing children, so
we'll see.
I don't know what's gonna happen to her. Poor Emily.
Oh, yes. Well, I think that about covers it. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. We absolutely love all your comments on the show. You guys have been doing a great job of watching it, and let your friends know that there is an after show that we can all talk about this amazing show. And tweeted us links to real life stuff happening that is parallel with the show, because we've been tweeting each other about some of those, and those are scary and fascinating, and we need to educate each other. So, let people know where they can find you and reach out after the show.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Adrian Snow. You can also see me for the Unproduced Table Read, not this Friday, but next. And then for Doctor Who on Sundays.
Exciting. I'm Joelle Monique. You can find me all over the internet at Joelle Monique, every week at blackgirlnerds.com. I'll be back here tonight to do the Riverdale finale, which is super exciting, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about it. Come over to the Popcorn Talk now and check Knife Hour. We've got Linda Goodfriend, who was in Happy Days and is an actress extraordinaire and teacher. She's wonderful. And then interview with W. Kamau Bell should be coming out tomorrow on the Black Girl Nerds podcast, so check that out.
Sweet. And my name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's Karidlane. And then you can also find me on Box Office Breakdown on Sunday nights, where we talk about what movies came out over the weekend. American Gods, also Sunday nights late. And then this awesome show. And someone brought up a good question, which I don't know the answer yet. Mr. Henry asked, is it confirmed that season 1 will cover the entire book? At the pacing they're going, I think it's possible, but they could stretch it out into season 2. I don't know.
Let us know your answers below.
Yeah, comment down below. 5 stars on iTunes. Write a review. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. And again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Don't let the bastards grind you down, bitches.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.